Welcome to For the Record. I'm Ryan Recker. We are just 2 days away from Pittsburgh's mayoral election. Republican Tony Moreno faces off against Democrat Corey O'Connor. And during this next half hour, we will hear from both candidates vying to become our city's next top leader. We start with my conversation with Tony Moreno. Well, you've been through this process before, just 4 years ago. How do you feel that you're better prepared for this time around?
You realize not everybody's well-intentioned. This political world is an absolute disgusting mess. Everybody, they all are trying to position themselves to get something. And when I come in, I'm trying to solve problems and figure out how to help people, because it's just where I come from, a place of service. So when I step into this, I expect to see the best and brightest and people whose intentions are really towards making people's lives better that they represent. And I don't see that. Everybody, it's a race for money and position and power. So understanding that, it's easier for me now to maneuver through it and just focus on the things that I hear from the street, from people in their homes and in their neighborhoods. That's where I get my information from. And when you match the information that you receive from being in communities and compare it to what you're seeing in social media or on television, it doesn't quite mesh up. And then you start reading budgets and you start seeing bills being passed, and those things don't equate what's necessary on the street. So instead of performing the act of the politician, I realized just being a person and thrusting myself into the political world works better, because now you're bringing a fight that's for people that they want, instead of positioning in a political mind.
So operating with that mindset, has that strengthened your desire to want this position?
It has tripled down my need. I just see this lack of leadership, and it's a breakdown. You see disarray. That's what we're realizing right now. Good or bad, the government is designed to work for our best interest. And when there is no leadership to take control and direct us in those ways, there's always going to be something. Something is always going to happen. It's Murphy's Law. That's why we have plans. If you don't have a plan, then you don't know where to go when that plan gets broken. This breakdown in leadership is because people aren't prepared to serve people.
Let's talk issues and the issues that the city is facing. Which ones stand out to you?
Public safety. Yeah, it's tremendous to me that the first time I ran, everybody wanted to focus on public safety because it was the George Floyd era and Black Lives Matter riots, and there was a change that was desired. So I wanted to show the city of Pittsburgh and everybody watching that I was more than just a retired policeman. I know the budget. I know how housing works. I know how public safety works. I know how the city works. I worked in it for 24 years, and I dealt with all problems throughout the city. So I am now so well prepared for this, even more than my desire to do it last time. Now I know exactly where the problems are and how to address them so they get done now, instead of wasting money and arriving at coalitions to have meetings to talk about the meeting.
So when you talk about addressing crime, let's say, or solidifying the police force, or another big picture topic is selecting a police chief, specifically, how, if elected, would you address those issues?
A police chief's simple. You know, you just look at somebody's resume before they got promoted or selected into being into the next position other than patrolman. You can see what their interest was, how they worked, what they provided to the community. That's an easy premise. The next step is now, instead of policing politically, which we're doing now, and that's why you see this breakdown in our police department, we just go back to enforcing the rules and laws. It's simple. That's the job that police officers take. We are going to be law enforcement. But at the same time, I know what's necessary in relating to communities because I've done it. I know what works. Having a law enforcement officer that can dwell in communities without running through their yards and getting to know the community. It's akin to exactly the old school walking the beat. But we have new technology. We have better training than we've ever had. We have better tools than we've ever had. And if we apply those together with the community response that we want, with the mental health aspect that we want, we're going to be better. And it just needs somebody that knows that and has the appetite to make it happen. And that's me. I'm the only one who wants to do that. Enforcing the rules is important because now everybody knows what the playing field is and what to expect.
Where do you think the city has fallen short when it comes to crime?
Obeying the rules. They have, because our leaders, our elected officials do not have the ability to make the case that laws need to be changed. You know, laws are hard to get to. It takes a lot of people to petition the government. It takes a lot for that representative of government to convince the entire group of representatives that this law is important. We don't do that here. Instead, we just change policy. We threaten officers. If you don't obey the policies, you can't get promoted. You can't work overtime. You can't do things to make your life better. And not only do the officers suffer, our residents suffer. And you can see that right now by the bodies that are laying in our planters downtown, on our trails, dying without people even caring. You know, these are people. These people have families, and we just treat them as if they're another cog in the problem. It's beyond me why we operate this way, but I understand it because I did it for so long. The need to police correctly and be accountable. Accountability and transparency, to me, is the most important thing for people to understand why the law enforcement officer is doing what he's doing.
You've talked about being through this process before. How do you think in these past 4 years, perhaps familiarity can help you this time around, in the sense that now voters will know your message, they'll know your values, they'll know your voice that's attached to all of these issues? Is there anything to that?
Absolutely. Everywhere I go, it's very different. The last time I ran, I was just the other person running who was saying the words that they wanted to say. I believed I had a really good chance, but it's politics and it's difficult, and there's a lot that goes on in the political world that most people don't see. So once you realize where they bury their landmines and how they're acting, my prior employment, I'm a retired police detective. All I did was investigate crimes, and now I speak to people and I know what they're saying when they're saying it and what they're going to do. It's a huge advantage that I can talk to people and I know where they're going to go. So it makes it easier. Recognition is a big deal because now everybody knows who I am when it comes to politics. I'm the cop that's running. I'm the guy that came in out of nowhere and almost won the Democrat endorsement. I now am in the Republican side. I don't think the politics of the days matter anymore. We all want change, and I'm the only voice of that. So it's a big, big, big difference. I'm in a better position now than I was last time, and I know that we're going to win because I'm talking to people on the ground, and that's the sentiment. Everybody wants something different, and we're not getting it.
Pittsburgh hasn't had a Republican mayor in nearly 100 years, so no doubt this is an uphill battle. You just said you're going to win. What leads you to believe you will win this election?
People. You know, it's a 50-50 premise right now. It's not like when you're coming into it from the very beginning and there's no possible way. There's $1 million that was given to Corey O'Connor. Over $1 million. Right now, he's not telling people what he's going to do for them. I'm putting together commercials. We're going out and getting $5 and $10 from community meetings. People are going to make the difference in this election. This is not a political election this time. There's suffering out in our city. We can see it now. It's just not numbers. We're just not seeing numbers. We're seeing results of the lack of leadership here, the lack of protection, the lack of care, and the lack of love coming from our elected officials. Once we start treating people like they are truly parts of our family, then we'll really get involved and make a difference in our communities, because you don't dare see a family member get assaulted on the street and not respond, or not have the money to go to college or get an apartment. When you're family, you take care of those people. And we need to start looking at the city that way, because what's happening now isn't working.
Still ahead on For the Record.
I think we have to continue to support, those local community organizations that are out stopping gun violence each and every day.
Democrat Corey O'Connor's turn to take on the issues, what he says he will tackle should he be elected. Welcome back to For the Record as we continue to feature Pittsburgh's mayoral candidates ahead of Tuesday's election. In our last segment, you saw my interview with Republican Tony Moreno. We now go to our Shannon Perrine, who sat down with Democrat Corey O'Connor.
Okay, let's move into what life will be like for the next mayor of the city of Pittsburgh. And when you're talking about 2026, and the United States of America and things like gun laws, how can you impact the problem of gun violence in your city during a Trump administration?
Yeah, I think we have to continue to support, those local community organizations that are out stopping gun violence each and every day. We have great programs right now. We have Reach, who's done an incredible job with especially our youth around the city of Pittsburgh. And we actually want to expand our Roots program. Roots is an organization that should have had 6 stations all across the city and only ended up with 1 and 1 part-time. So I think having 6 Roots programs going on in each police zone will be helpful, and not a standard site where it's just right on one corner and that's it. I think having people out doing more outreach among the community, I think that's a great way to help prevent gun violence, especially supporting individuals with drug addiction, mental health, because we know that's a big part of this situation.
And describe that again to our viewers. Brick and mortar offices, places that you can walk in and get to.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing is the brick and mortar work for a time, but now I think having more fluctuation in the neighborhood is going to be very, very helpful. So having more outreach programs, maybe you're right outside of a school, maybe you're outside of a senior center, making sure that people understand that the Roots and the Reach programs are there to support them, and ensuring that they are kind of floating around the community, not in one standard location each and every time.
As we're talking about this, I do want to go into a question about policing, police staffing, and first of all, police chief. What are you looking for? Who is the best candidate to lead the city, the Bureau of Police?
Well, somebody that's committed to Pittsburgh, and that's the first question you ask. So if successful, next week, that's number one question you're going to ask somebody. He or she, if you want this job, you have to commit to being in Pittsburgh. And not only that, but staying for at least 4 years. And I think that's something that over the last year, or the last administration, we've seen 5 in 3 years. There's no stability in the police force anymore. So I think you want somebody that understands Pittsburgh. I don't want to do a national search wasting taxpayers' money to find somebody from the middle of the country who takes a year to even figure out how to get around our city. So you want somebody that has the ability to understand our streets, understand our officers, understand the situation they're walking into. And it could be somebody that's here or an officer that had left that's interested in coming back. But I think my door's open to having these conversations over the next couple of weeks. But I think the next mayor needs to be strong and naming that chief relatively early. I would hope to name a chief of police in December so that they can go out, talk to the community members, but then also meet with council so they could be approved early in January.
Do you have a number that's a good number for the patrol officers?
I think we floated numbers out before, but I really think it comes down to how a new chief wants to work with our officers, work with our community outreach organizations, stop the violence funding, how we're going to utilize that to continue to lower our violence in our communities. But I think it comes down to the chief. Obviously, we need more officers. The officers are stressed at this point, working overtime, almost every weekend at this point, and we have the NFL draft coming up. So we're going to need to, do a really good job of recruiting. And, are we going to get back to 1,000 officers? Probably not. Let's be realistic. But we need an uptick in that. And I also think, officers that are leaving our bureau because there's instability at the top want to see a chief and somebody that's going to say, hey, you're working 8 hours, not 10s, not 12s. Like having a stable hourly work ethic in our bureau will go a long way in helping that.
It's hard for any city to offer the same kind of salaries as suburban police departments. Is there something else in a union contract that you can maybe offer to potential police officers to make their life in Pittsburgh working for the Bureau of Police?
Yeah, obviously that's tough, and you'd have to get into the union and talk about it. We know money's going to be relatively tight in the city over the next few years. But I also think there's other things we could look at, not just for our police, but our nurses, paramedics, firefighters, teachers. Can we start having a conversation not just about affordable housing, but workforce housing that incentivizes those individuals to live in the city of Pittsburgh? And I think that's something we haven't really tackled. We've done affordable housing, and we will continue to do affordable housing. When I was on city council, we passed the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. And I believe we can have affordable housing all over Pittsburgh. But now let's get the conversation going on workforce housing. And especially when we're short in nurses, teachers, police, fire, EMS, those are numbers that if we can create a workforce housing program for those individuals, then maybe you start growing your numbers in certain areas.
Is the nursing, specifically of nurses, is that a way that you envision really being able to get some cash out of these huge Pittsburgh nonprofits that have not paid taxes?
I think that's a conversation that you could have because that obviously fits the mission. But I think when you talk to our larger nonprofits and working on a community benefits agreement, it's got to fit their mission. We know that money is not going to go to, they don't want to give us money to fill in our coffers and what the city debt is. So let's have a community benefits agreement that's going to benefit everybody in the city of Pittsburgh. So can we have a conversation about purchasing ambulances? We know that major hospitals have to get people to the hospital in case of an emergency. So our ambulances are breaking down to and from calls. I think a leader goes in and has a specific ask. And, we believe that they all want to be partners in our community. So something like that is beneficial to not only the city, but also the residents.
I've heard about your plan to increase revenue for the city coffers. This feels like a financial crisis that we're currently in right now. If you can, for our viewers, can you nutshell how we got here and your plan to get us out?
Yeah, how we got here was, some mismanagement over the last few years. I think COVID relief money that should have been spent more on economic development and leveling out sites, having them shovel ready, not just for housing and long-term housing, but also for small businesses and startups. We decided to hire a number of employees in the city, which, now that the COVID money's gone, we have to figure out how to retain those employees and pay their salaries. So that's a $12 million hole right there. We also know last year's budget was a budget to get through an election. This year's budget is not being honest and truthful. And we won't know the actual numbers till somebody gets there, but you have to look at contracts, line items within the budget. What costs can we cut so that it doesn't fall on the backs of our taxpayers? And a lot of us, we won't know that until you actually get into office and see what the long-term effects are going to be.
Is there a part of the budget where you can already see some cost savings?
I think, again, looking at contracts, streamlining a lot of processes, especially when it comes to permits. If we can get permits out quicker, that's more money people are paying for permits to get back into the city coffers, but then also that helps when you're talking about growth and economic development. And we have to start building more housing so that we have a larger tax base. And it can't just be for renters. I mean, yes, we love that we have renters in the city, but the way to create generational wealth is home ownership. And we have to focus on that. And that's why I think having 11,000 parcels in the city, we can do a lot of economic development internally. And it's a shame you couldn't go back and get the $300+ million of COVID money, because now you could have shovel-ready sites that you could build workforce housing that's affordable, that somebody could own right out of the gate. And I think that's got to be our vision, or that is our vision, and that's got to be our mission, to do that stuff and do it quick.
Are we going to have to raise taxes in the city of Pittsburgh?
Again, that's one that nobody should be able to answer right now, because we don't know the actual numbers. I mean, you're looking at the preliminary budget shows 5 years of zero capital for paving. I mean, how is that optional? It's not. So I think you really have to get in there and start analyzing the budget. And I think coming from the controller's office, that's going to give me a leg up if successful next week.
And keep it here, because coming up, we will tell you how you can get all of the latest Commitment 2025 information as Election Day approaches. Welcome back. As we get ready for election night here in Pittsburgh, we want to remind you that Pittsburgh's Action News 4 is your home for Commitment 2025 coverage. Follow us both on air, online, and on the WTAE app on Tuesday for all of the updates as results come in for Pittsburgh's mayoral race and several other important races. And as always, if you have a topic that you would like For the Record to address, just send us an email to news@WTAE.com. And you can also rewatch this or any episode with a very local app on your smartphone, tablet, or smart TV. That does it for this week's edition of For the Record. We'll see you next Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Have a great week.